put weight on.
You put some weight on too, man.
You trying to say,
That's what
man?
we were talking about in the lobby.
I'm on my summer body. You talking about weight? What's wrong with you, boy?
Just a little weight, man.
you talking my diet plan ain't working? What's wrong with you, man?
It wasn't me, Shaggy. It wasn't me, man.
I'm gonna stop wearing this shirt, son.
Just real people, real convo.
Yo, this is Shaggy. Yeah. Stay tuned to Real Talk with Peter Bailey on Eye Opener. It's the lover on your dial, Wicked and Wild. Salute.
Shaggy, what's up, man?
Manners and respect.
You in Miami again.
Yeah.
For best of the best.
Best of the best.
Being one of the best. Your career, you've just transcended. But now you stepped out on your own with Ranch Entertainment. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
I mean, it was with, we had Big Yard for years, which was a major force within the whole reggae fraternity.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's where we sold some of our biggest records. Angel Wasn't Me and that whole Hot Shot and the whole 9 yard. Yeah. And it was a partnership with me and my former manager, and that just kind of dissolved. So I decided to just go ahead and just did something on our own. You know what I mean? And the studio that we made all our stuff out of, all the music out of, was Ranch Studio in New York. Wow. And so we just decided, well, let's just call it Ranch Entertainment, Ranch ENT. And we had the same people that was involved in Big Yard that was there, except the manager himself, but everyone else was still a part of it. Mm-hmm. So we just continued. So it's really a continuation of what was there. We're just under a different brand.
Shaggy, you're a legend, and you linked up with another legend, Beris.
Chairman of the board.
Oh, man. How did you guys come about with that song, the synergy of it?
I was raised with Beris, obviously, as we all, as Caribbean people. He's like he's the god of it, Majority of the pop world know of Bob Marley, but in the world of reggae and dancehall, urban music, Beris Hammond is staple, and he's just a legend. Like we said, we call him the chairman of the board, and in coming back with this record, which is a full Shaggy and Sly and Robbie album, I wanted it to be, because I'm known as the guy with the crossover guy. I'm the guy that comes with all these different style of eclectic music. Yeah. But so I wanted to come back with something that was straight reggae, and I'm doing this with a lot of criticism, because there's some people who, in the mainstream world, who might not want me to do this record. Because
you're that crossover guy. Is it becoming too authentic?
Right, it's too authentic or whatever. But I still think that there's a bridge that we could make, because I still think we could take this urban music and make it become a mainstream music. It's going to be harder, but it's going to be more authentic when it does happen. And Beris Hammond, I couldn't have done this record unless he was on it. And it being the first single was the right first single to come with, because I wanted everything to start organic. I wanted it to start from the streets. Yeah. A lot of people think that pop radio probably would not play a record like that. But I'm witness to know that if the streets is screaming it, they'll play it. Exactly. Because when I came with Mr. Bombastic, every record company told me that they don't see where this is going to fit.
Are you serious?
But the street screamed. When I came with Angel and It Wasn't Me, I turned that album in, and they told me that I needed to make a pop song. And they hired Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
So they're possibly passing on your biggest hits.
Oh yeah, they told me we hired Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis to create a pop record for us. And it was the record that we did for $2,000 in my basement. It Wasn't Me that became the pop record.
For $2,000.
For $2,000. We paid them
the
something
Shaggy
like about
effect
100.
Started at $2,000.
Yeah, 2 G's.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I've been told this my whole career. You know what I mean? So I'm the guy that goes against the grain. And and a lot of people don't bet, but I know one thing, and it's always happened. Every time one pops, you see they already. And I always say to record companies, getting business with me now, or getting business with me later when I'm more expensive.
And it costs more. Later.
Yeah, I'm saying, and they never take that advice. They always come at me when it's expensive.
Yeah. And the name of the record is?
The name of the record is Out of Many One People. The name of the single is Fight This Feeling.
Fight This
Shaggy and Beris Hammond. You can get it on iTunes right now.
Nice.
We're in, or I think, our 4th week of release right now, and it is great science. We're here in Miami to perform it tonight.
Best of the best.
Best of the best.
And you are one of the best of the best.
Thank you, sir. So
Indeed.
we'll have fun. And big up to the chairman of the board himself.
Indeed.
Sir Beris Hammond.
And
If anybody should be knighted, it should be him.
Indeed.
Sir, because people just call him that anyway.
Yeah.
Sir Beris Hammond.
Shaggy, over the years, you sustained on a pop cultural level. It's an energy, it's a vivaciousness. What energizes the Shaggy brand? People just like being around. People just like the Shaggy, the energy, the feel.
I think it boils down first to really liking what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get excited about music, and it still excites me. The art of music,
Yeah.
the challenges that comes with music, and the challenges that come with the genre of music that I belong to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can arguably say, and I've said this many a time, if you're doing hip hop, rock, pop,
Yeah.
or R&B, you got
Tons of outlets and platforms.
tons of platform to get it on. There's very few where reggae is concerned. You know what I mean? You want a pop station, there's thousands of pop stations, thousands of R&B stations, thousands of rock stations.
Mm-hmm.
There is no reggae station.
Why is
So
that?
how does a reggae artist or a reggae song get to compete in the mainstream on mainstream radio when there is no format for it? So if you understand the stakes of what we have done consistently over the years, it's really miraculous.
You know, I mean, Shaggy, our Caribbean, your Caribbean,
Yeah.
there's a synergy. Why, you know, America is a melting pot. People are open, we're universal. Why are we not, I guess, why isn't reggae that?
Well, if you look at brand Jamaica, take for instance,
Yeah.
and reggae, despite Jamaica's just this little dot, we're
Usain Bolt.
yeah, you know, we have some big accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? It's let's think about music. You know, sports is one thing, but let's think about music. America's pop culture was also shaped by a Jamaican, by Chris Blackwell and Island Records. You're remembering that U2 was founded by Island Records, you know, which is one of the biggest bands in the world to this day. Bob Marley was founded by them, you know what I mean? Melissa Etheridge, you know what I mean? And the list goes on and on and on and on. Michael Palmer, I mean, it's you know, not to mention Jimmy Cliff and every single reggae act there is, you know what I mean? But they've shaped popular culture. You know, if you Grace
course.
Jones, you know, you take for instance a Grace Jones, where Lady Gaga, you know, to a Rihanna, to a Beyonce, to any of these acts have emulated and copied. You know, because when she came, she was so much ahead of her time, and that's just her being, you know, this Jamaican chick with a vision.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I'm saying?
the attraction is there for the material.
It is just there because it's an energy and vibe that come within the people, out of many one people. And,
It's a good vibe.
You know what I mean? And we try to it's an overachievement on the part of a Jamaican act and a Caribbean on the whole as a people.
Exactly.
Because we have to fight 10 times harder. It's not a level playing field. You know, there's always this thing say, oh, you're Caribbean, you have how much job you have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everything cool.
Because you got to have a lot of, you know, and then
Exactly.
we got to be the coolest. You know what I mean? It's and if you look at a lot of rappers and there's some, you know, there's some Jamaican descendants somewhere within their whole, you know, bloodline.
Interesting. So
You know what I mean?
why aren't there enough outlets like you mentioned earlier? A reggae worldwide.
I think a lot of it boils down to us shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, there's no textbook in telling, you know, a kid from the ghetto, and this is not just a Caribbean problem. It's a ghetto problem.
Yeah.
There's no textbook that tells you, you know, there's a very few artists that comes from the ghetto and elevate themselves permanently out of the ghetto.
You're one of those artists.
Right? There's a lot of them that when they come from the ghetto and elevate themselves out of the ghetto, they go right back to the ghetto.
So what was your secret?
I decided I wanted to stay out of the ghetto.
Yeah.
A friend of mine told me, Josie Wells, big dancehall artist,
Exactly.
right, looked at me and said, ghetto means get out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And teach and going back and tell everybody how to get out. You know what I'm saying? Because the mentality will go with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you get $30 million or $10 million or $2 million, whatever it is, more money than you could ever dream of.
Yeah.
There's nobody there to tell you how to invest that and how to make that work for you. You live your life in a triangle stage. There's the acquiring stage, there's the investment stage, and then there's the retirement stage. Nobody's telling you these stages.
Yeah.
You just a young kid going out there, you never had a car, you get a car. How much people buy a pool? They start buying houses with pool, and they ain't never swam one day in their life. They don't even know to swim. It's like you pay a lot of money just to buy an apartment here, because you want that 360 view.
Yeah.
And then you working so hard that you tired that when you come in, you draw the curtain just because you want to sleep. You ain't even look at the damn view.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's these things that, it's out there so you think that you want half of the things that you really don't need.
And you transition into, you do a lot of humanitarian work in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah.
With the foundation.
Yeah.
And you've merged, you've been a connector, and your album is kind of about that theme, out of many.
Out of many, one people, one music.
And that was the vision.
The motto of Jamaica is out of many, one people.
Yeah.
Because you see a Jamaican out there and he's white. And you
Everybody
open his mouth and say, yeah, what my with everything good. And you're like, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just how Jamaicans are. There's no set, color or you know what I mean? It's just that. So the music is that colorful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You listen to reggae music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one music because there's a vibrant. You gotta remember why I say out of many one music, because reggae is the founding music of a lot. Hip hop was born from reggae.
True.
Because of Kool Herc, which you know that story.
Yeah.
Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from the early ska, a lot of rock music came from early ska.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Coming all the way down to where it is right now.
So reggae artists, I mean, technically, we're the universal lovers of the universe.
It's a sexy music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a soulful music, right? But it is just not when a reggae record happened, notice that when you do get one that happened, it's bigger than any other genre when it does happen.
That's a good point.
You look at, from a Shaggy to a Sean Paul to a UB40, when you hear Red Red Wine, it wasn't just a hit. It was a hit.
A smash.
You know what I mean?
The boy Sean
exactly.
Kingston. Yeah.
So when they do happen, it's massive. It's just that no one invests in it, because any major record company that is public, once they go out and say, we're going to put, $5 million into a reggae act, somebody's going to look at them and says, okay, so show me how this works, because there's no reggae artist that has ever sold a brand. If you go down there and look and say, okay, so we at Coca-Cola, we want to put $5 million into the next Shaggy record for a campaign.
Yeah.
And what CEO is going to have their job taken from them for that? Because at the end of it, it's like, show me where this has worked before. Exactly. There's no history of it. But, the Biebers and the NSYNCs and the Britney Spears have done it. So if you do that, we're fine with that. You go on reggae, well, this is reggae. It's the music of homophobia, guns, and violence. And they'll find every single excuse other than the right excuse that it's revolutionary music.
But you keep
it's
pushing.
Lovers Rick.
It is revolutionary music.
Yeah, and you keep pushing. I have to keep pushing because that's all I know. I'm not,
And the seeds of that revolution, I mean, is it the history of the Caribbean? Is it rooted in?
It is rooted in it because as Caribbean people, we've always fought to have a place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've always fought to be a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. It's not just, nice white sand beaches and sipping pina coladas with an umbrella on it. You know what I mean? There's more to the Caribbean than that.
That's interesting. Is that contradiction?
But that's what they sell it. Huh?
Is that contradiction with people who live in their suffering?
There's a lot of things going on, you know what I mean? And until you go down there and vibe with these people and realize that some of them is a ways. I remember I went to India and I was walking through some of what they know now as the slums of India.
Yeah.
But if you talk to the average Indian person, they're wondering what you're on about. It's like, because they're used to it. They don't look at it as a slum. This is it. I'm in Uganda and some guy live in a little hut you know, and the floor is shiny, you know, because it's the clay, and he shined it with some brushes and with the coconut brush, and it's shining. You know, they have no running water, no microwave, no nothing, and we're like, yo, how you live like this? And they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? You know, I'm rich.
Wow. Interesting lesson, though,
Yeah,
right?
I'm rich. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at all of that, you're like, there's a lot of people down there that when you think about their lives, what they're doing, they're happy. That's why Caribbean people are happy people. It's always a good time, but they endured a lot of struggle. You know what I mean? And the struggle that the average person come down there wouldn't last a day.
And that's why I guess the music is just speaking from, it's kind of turning those cries into smiles.
It is. And it's entertaining, you know what I mean? But like I say, we shoot ourselves in the foot sometimes because sometimes we don't know how to act.
we were talking about earlier, Shaggy. You're one of those artists, you have a global presence. And I always want to ask an artist such as yourself, the reception over there. Compared to fans, the American love here, what is the European, the embrace over there? What do they think of us over here, per se?
Well, you got to understand that the American market is one of the most biggest and influential market. You get this market, you're in, son. You know what I mean? But it's beautiful to go to other places.
You've been to Togo.
I've been
most exotic places?
Tonga. I've been to the Middle East, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Oman. You know, there's so many places.
Where's your favorite top tier?
We like Colombia.
Most beautiful women?
Women are beautiful. Colombia is nice.
It's nice.
It's a lot of eye candy.
A lot of eye candy.
Yeah.
What is, like I said, you have that global perspective. Not to vary into politics, but let's talk politics. What do you think Obama being in the White House has helped the American image overseas since you're over there?
Well, he's a friendlier guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's at least if having a president that you can at least open a dialogue with helps.
Exactly.
You know, if you're gonna be Bush and just shoot at the hips, you know, it's a different situation. You know what I mean? But have a dialogue. I'm not saying he's gonna solve problems, like all problems. I'm sure he's gonna try his best and solve as much as possible. But at least having a dialogue open is being approachable, being a guy that you could at least, you know, and a lot of people knock him for this because you often say Gaddafi and all of these other guys. It was like, oh yeah, you know, yeah, we never liked Bush, but this guy we could, you know, you hear like some of the biggest dictators saying, yeah, well, yeah, this guy, I could, you know, maybe we could have a conversation with this guy.
Is that a bad thing though?
It's not a bad thing. It's at least good to have dialogue because if you're not having a conversation, you're going to rage. You're raging war.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We're not getting anywhere. You know what I mean? Everything starts with a dialogue. You know what I mean? And for him, that's what I look at with him. You know what I mean? And he's a guy. He's a symbol of hope. Whether he accomplishes that or not is to be seen. You know what I mean? And it's certainly a hard job. And he's gotten the country at a time which, you know, I always wondered to myself, nobody could be that damn ambitious. Why would I want this job?
The man has gray hair. He's just
gray
looking
hair.
tired.
I'm like,
looking tired.
Yo, dude, you don't even know what you bit off.
Like Jay-Z said, come down to the beach with me.
I mean, I'm serious. You know what I mean?
Need this. It's Shaggy, finally, do you get irritated when people come up to you saying, it wasn't me?
I get irritated if they don't.
Okay. It's just this.
It's the day that they don't, then I have a problem.
Then it's like you're done.
Yo, dude, I gotta figure something else out. I need a new catchphrase.
Yeah.
You know? No, it's just what it has become a part of pop culture.
It has.
I remember watching CNN one time and they were talking about the Shaggy effect.
Wow.
Which was, I can't remember who was. Somebody was saying, I think it was the BP spill.
Jimmy Fallon was dancing. He did a skit to it.
But there was a BP spill and there was, you know, finger pointing and somebody was like, yeah, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And
wow.
it says, well, everybody just has the Shaggy effect.
Wow.
You know, so it's
cool.
It's a blessing at the end of the day. It certainly helped me pay my bills.
Man, made a lot of people feel good. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Shaggy.
Pleasure, man.
It's always respect.
And congratulations on your new situations, homie.
Thanks, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Movie thing.
Yeah, I mean, I see things happening and whatnot.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? Still, you know, Still can holler at a brother every now and then, though.
Man, of course, man, Shaggy.
I'm just saying. You know?
Honestly, Shaggy, just being from the Caribbean, being from St. Thomas, you will honestly, man to man, you're one of the brothers that showed a brother like me that we could cross.
I ain't in no movies, homo. You know, it's different.
I
When you
mean,
start getting that movie money,
Diamond albums.
that movie money is that's that next level.
It is. It is, man. It is.
It's all good though. Congrats, man.
Thanks, bro. Respect. Just real people, real convo. It wasn't me. Shaggy, it wasn't me, man.
I'm gonna stop wearing this shirt, son. Que a me mata,